Hello, this is UltimaDJS here. Welcome, and thank you for coming to this, probably the last video I'm going to make for a while on Dark Souls, just because, I'm trying to build up the channel. I want to have a good variety of games. I want to do a lot of things, and so, there are going to be other things within the Dark Souls vein that I'm going to do. But for now, the Dark Souls game itself, this will be probably the last video. Here you see me taking on the DLC. Now, I didn't know that the DLC even existed until after I accidentally beat the main game. And I say accidentally because I didn't know that they were just going to take me straight into New Game Plus. I thought that it was kind of like Elden Ring, where you could choose whether or not you wanted to go forward into New Game Plus and all that, but nope, that was not the case. So here we're facing the Sanctuary Guardian, and this is kind of the first taste of the DLC, and he was highly aggressive, but you can see I'm dealing really good damage here, so I was kind of jaded for the rest of the run, because I thought that, okay, so I'm dealing pretty good damage, maybe I can get in and take care of these bosses pretty easily inside the DLC. Now again, I didn't want to spoil much of the DLC, so I didn't do much research ahead of time aside from how to get to the DLC. Again, this is not something that I've ever played before, so I have no idea how to do it. Anyway, so this will cover kind of these runs. But yeah, the Knight Artorias was notoriously difficult. He is like all of the bosses inside this DLC have their aggression turned up to like 90, and their attack speeds, they attack super fast, they're aggressive, they get these buffs that allow them to deal more damage or you take more damage. And Artorias, like, though he was really difficult, a lot of the difficulty lay within trusting your ability to attack at any given point in time. So you'd sit there and you'd see him attack and kind of slow down, and then it's like, oh, I can get in a shot now. And nope, because the moment that you start attacking, he goes into an attack that has an immediate hitbox. And so in the end, you wind up having to look for certain attacks that have a very long animation cooldown, like the attack where he just kind of, that attack, his charge attack, he goes forward and his recovery is a really long time. So you have a good opportunity to attack there. I noticed that another one is when he swings his great sword from one side to another, like not like that, but like that. There's a pretty good amount of time for recovery, and so he definitely has one of the, I guess, more difficult to read things when you first come in. The other ones, like Manus, he was really easy to read, but his attacks were very difficult to dodge. Calamite, it was kind of the same thing. Like, he was very easy to read, and his attacks were easy to dodge if you didn't have targeting on, which I learned kind of like 15 deaths in. And so he took a while. So Calamite and Manus took by far the longest. Artorias, I died probably like 11 or 15 times too, until I just kind of started taking it slower and stopped trying to punish every attack. And because you see, like that, he sits there, and the one, he goes down and he stays there for a bit, and then the next one, he does it, you expect him to stay for a bit, and then he gets immediately up. Anyway, and so Artorias beaten was actually pretty good. Like, I enjoyed that boss fight. I've noticed that, I didn't know that you had to shoot him down, so I thought for a few times that you could come down and fight him in some sort of way, and then evidently you have to do this and get this guy to shoot him down for you. But one of the things that I see with this is, like, once you kind of resign yourself that you're going to be dying 100,000 times, then it becomes a lot easier and more fun, because you're like, okay, now how far can I get this time? How far can I get this time? And never expect that just because it's on its last bit of health, that means you're going to win that time, because they pull out some really weird stuff when they get down in health. This is an interesting thing. So Gouge, whatever his name is, he does that blind OP trope, and it just kind of makes me wonder where that trope came from, because I haven't ever seen a blind archer in real life. I'm not saying that there isn't one, and if there is, mad respect to you, dude. Like, I have no idea how you can do it. I can't do archery even seeing, but I don't know how it became such a trope in video games that somebody who's blind or disabled in some way suddenly has like these superhuman capacities. Well, I guess they are superhuman in general, but you know what I mean. Like, it's outside of the realm of natural, like, consequence, like where you actually would see that in real life. So just kind of wondering where those tropes came from. Anyway, Calamite was aggressive, and there were 2 attacks that were really annoying. This one isn't too bad. This one makes it so that you take a lot more damage, so you just have to be careful. The Artorias 1 attack, where he kind of glows purple and explodes for a bit, not just makes him deal more damage, this one makes you take more damage. So I'm not really sure if one's better than the other. They both kind of have the same effect. But in the end, Calamite has a lot of openings for attack, and you just really have to kind of watch for the signs of the attack that it's using. In the end, I found that my ideal way to fight bosses is without armor. Just in the DLC especially, it seems like speed is by far more important than durability. So it's like, no matter what armor you put on, they're dealing insane amounts of damage anyway. So you have to just try and be able to respond in like speed as they're attacking. So doing quick rolls, quick dodge, usually you don't trust the armor, the shield to really protect you very much. As you can see, I got this particular debuff twice, where that little dragon eye floats above my head, and it didn't stop me in this run. So there's never a guarantee one way or another. You're never guaranteed to win, and you're never guaranteed to die, even if things are going wrong. So you just keep going, you know. Just the game is to see how far you can get with it, and eventually you'll get far enough that it dies. But yeah, there are so many attacks that Calamite had that you can really easily punish, and I really enjoyed that. Like, I enjoyed the challenge of the boss fight. Hit super strong, but plenty of opportunities to attack and plenty of visibility into the attacks. So I don't know if I would ever die as many times to Calamite again, but I mean, probably. But that's the good thing about this game. You know, you slowly start to build up your muscle memory, and you start to learn the boss's move patterns and move sets, and it becomes just a easy fight, or not even so much an easy fight as more of a fair fight. Now, I was really lucky to survive that one. I don't know how I managed to get the dodge off. And you'll notice that the little armor that I'm wearing on the bottom there, that's just a really light armor that I like the look of and allows me to do the fast rolling, because I don't like looking at my emaciated rear while I'm sitting there trying to fight these bosses all the time. So I just keep on some sort of tights or shorts or whatnot to not have to look at my emaciated rear end each time. The Calamity Ring, annoying. Like, it just doubles damage. What's the point of that? I don't know. Like, maybe people who like to increase the challenge of the game after they've played for thousands of hours, but I can't really play a game for thousands of hours. You know, my ADD kind of takes the joy out of it after trying to play the game, like I can run through maybe 4 or 5 times before I get tired of playing. But after that, you know, I can't devote thousands of hours to it. It gets to be too much. So here's Manus. He has this large hand that looks like it was cursed by the Fellow Omens from Elden Ring. You know how the Fellow Omens have their horns and stuff like that. This guy, oh my gosh, every single time he got me in the back. He didn't get me every single time because I found a way to get him to mostly not, but it was always haphazard. So this time he got me, but this time is also the time that I beat Manus, so I never had to deal with him again. Anyway, so like I was saying, this hand looks like it was cursed with the Fellow Omen curse that like makes horns grow everywhere, and then they trim them and everything like that. So maybe it's a precursor to the Fellow Omens. I do happen to believe that all of FromSoft's games probably have some sort of linking factor into that. You can see inside Dark Souls, that there's this kind of British looking guy, and from my passing knowledge of Bloodborne, I know that that's set in kind of a British town. So I also mentioned here Manus, you know, is man in French, manos in Spanish, mani in Italian, and manus in Latin. So it's like there's a great pun here about the fact Manus, and he has this big hand. But it's just one of those things, you know. I'm a dad, so I make dad jokes, and of course this guy is Father of the Abyss, so he's making a dad joke. Anyway. But yeah, the thing that I found hardest about Manus was that his attacks had really difficult timing dodge windows, because you could dodge way too early and his attack delays long enough that you're going to catch at least the tail end of the damage. Again, this is an example right here of where the damage, like, you don't give up just because you get to low health. Anyway, but you get the tail end of the damage, or you dodge way too early and then you get the full brunt of the damage. And it's like it's really hard to dodge, like to get the visual cue, because it has a slow wind up and a really, really fast release. And it's during that really fast release that you have to start your dodge. Found this silver pendant to be very useful. One of my subscribers informed me of like one of the more enigmatic hints as to how to get it, with a hidden door that needed to be opened with light instead of damage. So evidently that's a thing here. But yeah, no, the boss itself is fun. It was really kind of a nice change. They do have a lot of aggression. Like the bosses in the DLC are by far the hardest, and maybe it's because I was on New Game Plus that it was even harder, because I had no idea what I was coming into, and it's New Game Plus, so they're dealing more damage and have higher health. So there are a few times I probably could have won and not had much problem if it wasn't for the fact that it was New Game Plus. After all, Birdie was dealing pretty good damage before New Game Plus, and here you can see him just kind of slowly ticking away at the health. And so, I mean, I can see how people learn the patterns and learn how to get these bosses without taking a single hit. But it's really one of those things that it's a lot of fun, and it's really interesting to do. But this is it, you know, this is the last boss. I've covered all of the bosses in this game. I've defeated every single one of them. And so the only thing that's left from here, after you beat the Manus, then you get into this like sanctuary garden, and there's 2 more sanctuary guardians. And yeah, I got out of there real quick. Anyway, but yeah, this is, once again, you know, this is it. And I'm going to definitely be playing more Dark Souls games, but not Dark Souls 1 for now. Like, once I'm finished with the other ones, and maybe I'll start streaming and do some streaming playthroughs of Dark Souls, because it is fun. It's a great game. But for now, moving on to other things, probably doing something a bit more like family-centric, since this one is more kind of single-player centric. Maybe a Mario game or something like that, and start building up a family repository of games and playthroughs. But yeah, here's where I saw them. It's like, nope, goodbye. And then it's like, after that there was the last one, which is Solaire. But yeah, evidently he got taken over by his search for a son. And son, I mean S-U-N, not S-O-N. Anyway, but yeah, everyone turns crazy in this game. So everyone attacks you at some point or another. Other than that, then I really appreciate all of the support that you guys have given me as we've been building up this channel through Dark Souls, and I hope you join me for more as I continue with Dark Souls 2, 3, Bloodborne, Sekiro, and all those other ones, as well as some of the more casual games like Mario and Mario Maker and other things like that. Anyway, thank you so much for joining me today, and I hope very much to talk with you later.